experimentally and is core-effective from using standard engineering practices. And so the strange thing in all of this is that our claim, as was said to me by one scientist one day, contains no new science. You could say it contains no science at all, but I would dispute that. So why are we here, and what on earth am I doing standing up, embarrassing myself and in my former place of learning? We're here for a very specific reason. The whole journey of orbo, this thing that started many years ago for us, has been a difficult one. It's been a very difficult one inside the company, because it's something that we simply didn't believe ourselves, and then when we believed it's been a very difficult one to get other people to believe it. So we have all these processes that are going on that are about engaging with the scientific community, trying to get the scientific community to come in and say, look, it's real, it's not real, or whatever. We've also done the same with a whole sequence of engineers, and so on. What we are preparing to do is to launch the technology next year. But then understand what the technology is. We are a head company. We're not going to be selling generators or turbines or anything like that. What we do is we license the core technology to people who develop the product. And that process starts in February of next year. We're going to be asking 300 engineers or engineering organizations to start replicating this stuff. Go off and build it. At the end of the day, it's a flash presentation, blah, blah, blah. Probably unbelievable. But this is the start of our commercialization process. Prior to this, we're going to be putting into the public domain up on the validation that's been done of the technology over the years. So this is not just us going, it's true, you must believe me. This is other very, very credible sources who've gone and tested the hell out of this thing and said, just don't believe it, but it does work. The other thing I'll say, to get away from the Nigerian scam I've explained, is access is completely free. We're not be asking anybody for any money. What we are asking people to do is they have to have a suitable qualification, actually have to understand engineering, and we're also asking them to sign a developer's license, which is a right to use our patented technology. The technology is patented, develop, and either disprove it for yourselves, prove it for yourselves, or push it out into the market. That's the money out of it. That's pretty much it. Questions?
Just get back to my role in this. When we got the books and the papers, Jer was asking me about the technology, and I said that the fundamental issue, which is what has been said here, is does it work or not?
Yeah.
Does the experiment work? And that's the crucial issue. I was saying Mayer and Joel were arguing about experiments. That's what the proof of the conservation came down to. That's how we believe this, and that is the crucial issue. I'm somebody who's studied magnetism and my PhD, so I do know something about it. The question I'd like to ask is much more down to earth.
Yeah.
How did you get a patent for one of these devices?
I have to say expensively is the answer. I mean, just to put this in perspective, a patent will cost, a decent patent will cost about €200,000. So what our patent strategy has been is never to reclaim a violation of the common law, because you're immediately into a battle with the patent office you don't need, and we filed in 140 countries, so we don't need 140 patents. So the way we patented this is pretty smart. We patent everything, cross patents it, so there's not one patent, there's multiple patents that protect the technology, but are not controversial in the wrong way. So we decided to battle. We use a patent firm in Boston. We sat down and worked with these guys for years, long before we were doing this stuff on the other technologies. We sat down and went, I don't want to fight, he doesn't want to fight. Do we need to have the fight? So we just moved the goalpost.
Okay. Can I take questions from the floor, please? One at a time. That hand up first.
Hi. I've seen some presentations on the technology before.
Yeah.
The version I saw was whereby you had developed a very low energy magnetic keeper and a rotational disc to make a motor. What I find strange is that if you go to a fortune teller and they say you're going to meet a gorgeous dark woman, and you say, great, give me your address. And they're like, well, I can't get the address. So if I was in your position, right, whereby I have developed a disc type motor, which in theory could put out more energy than it put in, I'd keep it as scalable. I wouldn't tell anybody. Feed the stuff back in, and see the easiest way to demonstrate.
Build the demonstration unit.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, surely if that was the case, and you have built a scalable version of this, without going down the perpetual motor, if you built a 99.9% efficient electric motor, it would be a groundbreaking technology. But if you build a 120% electric motor, it's mega. So I don't understand why. There's two sides to this. You can either be a fantastic scientist, but you're going to have an uphill battle. I'm not saying whether the principles hold or not. But the other side is, at the end of the day, what it's all about is money. Engineering, everything is to do with the making of money, producing a product that's going to make you rich or whatever. Then you can worry. That's philosophical. Oh, absolutely. Trust me on this. If you didn't go to market with a device whereby it could save, never mind make, but save energy on the scale of what you're claiming, I can't see why you've gone the controversial route.
I mean, it's a very fair point, and I'm being a bit blasé. I mean, we are in...
Great talk, enjoyed that, super. Good.
Yeah. Oh no, thank you. I mean, we are a business, we are in the process of making money, okay? If you look again at the history, there's a lot of people I didn't mention in terms of claimants here. A lot of the more credible claimants decided that through this we just have a very efficient motor and we'll sell it. Yeah, they didn't even take on the, and fair enough, but they're companies with an interest in manufacturing. Okay, we have attempted to demo this with stunning lack of success in about a year and a half ago in London, where literally it didn't work. Yeah, so we took the route, but our business is not selling machines. Our business is in licensing technology, but to license the technology we have to demonstrate it's real. So we've taken this process of validation in multiple strands. Yeah, the first strand is with the scientific world. We have these scientists who are going off and they'll eventually publish saying, you're idiots, or my God, you found something. Yeah. We have a process of engagement with the engineering community that is becoming public next February, but has been long ago. We chartered engineers in the office a couple of weeks ago, looking at this, and they're not, you're crazy. And then at the end of the weekend, they're going, wow, didn't expect that. And ultimately we have to convince a rightly sceptical public that we're not Nigerian scam artists. And you do that by doing public demonstrations of the technology. But our business model is a bit like Intel. Yeah? We don't build PCs, we make chips. We're not in the business of manufacturing and knocking out 1,000 motors. We're in the business of understanding the technology, developing the core technology, licensing the core technology. But between steps 2 and 3, you have to prove it. And we're going to prove it in 3 very separate ways, very separate strands.
So has there ever been a motor produced that can self-powered motor?
Yeah, absolutely.
That runs continuously.
Sorry?
That runs continuously.
Nothing in the real world runs continuously.
Hold on a second. 110% motor will run continuously.
Yeah, until something breaks on it,
Yeah, or change it.
Sorry, I get it. I'm being slightly blasé back to you. Okay,
I'm not being blasé.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not fettered by the idea of constant, because many times in laws that when you go into absolute laws, and then you start getting into particular areas, we say, well, actually, it's not true in this particular case. So I have no problem with something like that, because I don't know everything and I never will. Yeah, I do feel that one of the best ways of convincing somebody is to show them physical evidence.
I 100% agree, and we attempted to do that with astounding lack of success a year and a half.
In a very controversial manner. I mean, the claims were very kind of...
Yeah, but you have to understand that when you're selling a hypocrisy to the world, or something that, this is not like, when Microsoft came to us and said, well, you developed this bloody optical disc thing, this is an extraordinarily complex, really, really difficult piece of technology. It's not impossible. Yeah, it's just very, very difficult. When we started working, this is absolutely impossible. So you do develop a bunker mentality. Because you go around for years knocking on people's doors saying, just listen, just look, just touch this, but to come back to your point, absolutely, we have to demonstrate this in every way possible. And even then, it'll take a long time for people to believe it. If you live the dream for a second, you say maybe you guys aren't completely crazy. It'll take an awful long time.